Hey everybody, on this episode, guys, we're gonna break it down for you. We got Canelo Berlanga happening this Saturday on the undercard. It's not that bad. We got Plant versus Macumbi. Also, Garcia returns for a title shot against one Laura. All this and so much more on this episode of Samp&Chance Boxing. So strap in and thank you for letting us into your ears. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance. I'm your host, Bobby Sampson. Joined as always, my man with the master plan, Mr. Chance. Michael's Chance. Happy Thursday, brother. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Can't complain, my friend. Can't complain. I guess the weekend is fast approaching. Kids are
Yeah.
back in school. So the weekends actually have some content to it now, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
just feels good to get to that point. Mind you, I'm working, but it is what it is. So it's all
Yeah.
good.
No, I hear you.
It's all good. It still feels good to know that the weekend is approaching. All right, brother man, I tell you what, let's just get right into it. This is the card, the biggest card that we have coming up right now, anyways, in a long time.
Yeah.
Canelo Berlanga, here we go. I mean, they're going up against the Sphere. There's been a lot of talk about, is this the right move? Everyone's happy. Apparently, I've heard that they've dropped the sales at UFC event because it's not selling out as well as they thought it would. I don't know if this is affecting the T-Mobile side of it as well, but I mean, it looks like there's some healthy competition between the two here.
Yeah. No, UFC brought the price down. Nothing to do with Canelo. The prices were just too high. And the Saphir is a beautiful, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful structure, arena, whatever you want to call it. So he brought the prices down. It'll sell out. Canelo always does well. Neither one will affect either one. Canelo will fill up T-Mobile and they'll fill up the Saphir.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it wouldn't be a problem. Canelo's got a lot of guts going at it like that. He's got a lot of confidence in himself. So I admire him for that.
No, he's one of the two or three guys in the industry that can pull that off, right? I
Yeah.
mean, if it's not him, it's Tyson Fury. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and I wouldn't know who the third would be right now, but
That's probably it.
right. So I mean, between those two guys, they can go anywhere in the world, go up
Ryan
against
Garcia. Ryan Garcia can do it.
maybe, but I mean, guaranteed for sure those two guys, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's break it down, man. We got Canelo Berlanga. Let's get right into it. Here we go. I mean, this is Canelo's to lose, really. I mean, he's just kind of like he's taking a lot of heat for taking this fight, which I don't understand. I mean, he's just doing what he has to do. I mean, he's not actually, it's not undisputed anymore. He did lose the IBF because he wouldn't fight Martin Skrull. So they
Mm.
took that belt away from him. I think of all the four federations, IBF is the shittiest out of all of them. They're the ones causing, well, think about it. They're causing most of the problems. They took Usyk's belt away,
Yeah.
right? I mean, because they didn't want him to defend it this way. So, I mean, they really need to kind of fix their act up here because they're really screwing up a lot of things. But back to this fight, though, man. Again, like I said, there's not much here to really look at. I mean, Berlanga, yeah, his claim to fame, 16 first round knockouts, but look at the level of the
In a
competition
row.
in a row.
Yeah.
But look at the people he was fighting. Take nothing away from those guys that he was fighting. But I mean, you haven't really fought anyone upper echelon. And since his return, his last two fights, he hasn't looked great.
Yeah. Well, he's number one ranked middleweight in by the rankings. So Canelo's taken his mandatory. So Berlanga is no joke. Of course, Canelo's a heavy favorite here. He's a little bit slow on his feet, but man, Canelo can still got those counter punching. He's going to come forward. He's going to rough him up. And that in saying that, Canelo hasn't really finished anybody. So I think Canelo will take this by decision, but I think Berlanga will give him a little bit of a run for his money. He's younger. He's hungry. If he can upset Canelo, the sky's the limit for him money wise after. And these guys all fight. It's all about money. When they tell you it's not, it is.
Yeah.
So Canelo will win this fight by decision, but I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. I think Berlanga will hold his own. I see the later rounds Canelo start wearing him down, but this is going 12 split decision for Mr. Canelo. And who he fights after this is anybody's guess, but he's still the pay-per-view. Him and Garcia and Fury are still the pay-per-view king, so I don't see that changing this weekend. He's got a great card, though. The Berlanga Canelo fight isn't great necessarily on paper. He stacked the whole card, it's one of the better cards in a while. So
Yeah, no,
it
it's a good
should
card. I
come.
think for Berlanga, he just got to be very, very, smart about his movement and the way he comes in. Because I mean, ultimately, once you feel that power, if Canelo hits you, and those
Hmm.
early rounds will determine a lot. If he gets a good body shot in, if he, like it's the body shots. I think that Canelo is going to have to use more here to kind of break him down, in my opinion. And in the past, guys have felt that power and their
Oh
game
yeah.
changes, right? So I think the same thing's going to happen here. And Berlanga, in my opinion, I don't think he's got that strong of a chin. So 2-year 12-round split decision, I think Canelo's going to finish him off in like 10 or 11. And he's going to wear him
Agree.
down. He's going to break him. And I think there's a lot more pressure on Canelo not to win the fight, but how he wins the fight. And I think because of the last couple fights that he's had, he hasn't delivered that oomph. I think this
Hmm.
is where we're going to get that this time around. I think he's something to prove. And Berlanga's that guy that he could probably get away with it and get it done with him that way. So I'm going Canelo, 11 rounds, TKO or knockout.
I got Canelo split decision, and I think Berlanga's going to give him a good fight, better than
Okay.
Charlo did,
Yeah, no, 100%. Charlo was just there for the bag. I mean, I'm
and better
sorry
than
to say.
Munguia.
Munguia put on a good effort, but Munguia's, a few years away from being at that level where he could have really challenged him. As good as Munguia is, it just shows you, you know what I mean? Matchmaking is everything in boxing,
Yep,
ultimately.
absolutely.
We're seeing that more and more now. Like we're seeing guys like, we're going to talk about the next fight here. Let's get right into it here. This is also on the undercard here. Mr. Caleb Plant making his return to the ring since fighting David Benavidez, so that he's been out for a while, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, he's been out for almost a good 2 years, 2, 3 years since he's had a fight. So him coming back into the ring against one Trevor McCumbee, McCumbee has more experience. He's got, he's got to know he's 28-0. Caleb is coming into this fight with a 22-2 record, but experience, in my opinion, goes to Caleb Plant here. He's fought the higher echelon fighters. McCumbee again taking nothing away from these guys, but they haven't fought anyone at that level yet. So this is a big step up for McCumbee. But I think it's just Caleb's fight to lose. I mean, I think McCumbee has a chance, but Caleb, his technical skills, his power, his foot movement, I think he's gonna win it.
yeah. It hasn't been quite 2 years for Caleb. It's been over a year. But anyways, I like McCumbee. I like him. And he's relatively unknown, but I like his demeanor. I like his calmness. I like his confidence. These guys hate each other. It's bad blood. Caleb is bad blood with anybody. Wherever he goes, he's getting altercations. He's pushing guys. He's fighting guys. He's a troublemaker. Now, maybe he needs to do that to stay on the edge, and that gives him the edge to fight. And McCumbee hasn't fought anybody like Caleb, but this is his chance. He's undefeated. People are saying he's a soup can. Caleb's going to destroy him. I don't think so. He's got
No,
this quiet confidence about himself, and I got a feeling that this card in particular we're going to see a couple upsets here. It's just like Caleb Plant to me just seems off his game. That could be what he's doing, a mind game. McCumbee is just, if you watch his interview, so calm, so cool, so collect. And now Caleb Plant's like, oh, in 2015, you got busted doing roids. They're digging up dirt on each other. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of bad blood. So I'm going to go on the record right here. And I do like Caleb Plant as a fighter, but I'm going to say Trevor McCumbee is going to upset him.
fair enough, man. I'm gonna go the other way. I think Caleb Plant takes this. I just think his experience and everything. And keep in mind, like his demeanor and everything you're talking about. I like McCumbee too. I have nothing against the guy,
Yeah.
but I just think it's one of those situations for the first time out of all your fights that you've had, you've never been in this situation. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the atmosphere, the lights, the walkout, all of that, how's that going to affect you when you're in that ring in front of those many people? I don't know if he's ever
Yeah.
fought in front of those many people, right?
No, he
So
hasn't.
Caleb has that experience. He knows how to handle that kind of pressure as well. So, it's multifaceted here with this particular fight. It could go either way. Maybe he's taking him too
I'm
lately.
just thinking that Caleb's going to be too angry, too aggressive,
Yeah,
wanting to finish him, and McCumbee will
maybe.
catch him. Who knows? Caleb is definitely the favorite, and he should be. He is
Yeah.
technically the better fighter, but I got a feeling that McCumbee is going to pull an upset. But who knows? We'll find out. But I'm looking forward to that fight probably the most
All
because
right.
this
Cool.
Canelo and Berlanga don't really hate each other, but
Yeah.
McCumbee and Plant hate each other.
What round or decision?
I think McCumbee can get him out of there like round 10, round 11. This is a long shot pick. I'm not
Okay.
saying put the mortgage on it, but I just
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
gut feeling here.
Well, I will agree with your assessment on what round, but I'm going to say it's going to be Caleb Plant on the one who's going to be on that side.
Could be.
All right, man. Finally, Danny Garcia makes his return to the ring, and this is why Mance has been out of the ring for a couple of years. I apologize. He hasn't had a fight since 2022 when he beat
Jose
Jose
Benavidez
Benavidez.
Jr. Yeah.
So let's get right into this route. So he's coming back after a 2-year layoff, a little bit more than that maybe, but at least 2-year layoff. And he's coming right into it for a title shot with Landy Lara, man. So I mean, this is going to be kind of interesting as well. This fight was actually supposed to happen last year, but it didn't happen in August, and then they were trying to make it for December last year, but because PBC was shutting down this and that, they never put it on the card there at the end. So here we go. We finally got the fight. So he hasn't been up because he was injured or broken or dealing with anything. He was just waiting for this fight. How do you see this one playing out, man?
Well, it wasn't PBC shutting down; it was Showtime. You meant to say,
Oh,
but
Showtime.
I know.
Sorry, Tom.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, Laura's won 4 of his last 5 fights. He's been super active. He's 41. Garcia's 36. So these guys are elder statesmen. You got to keep that in mind. Garcia's coming up in weight. Garcia wants to be a 3 division champion, different weights. I don't think it's not happening this night. He's too big, he's too strong, he's too fast. He's been more active. Garcia's been out there for 2 years. Garcia does have good defense. He does have an iron chin. So I don't know. I think Laura's going to crack him and put him down. I just think because he's been so active. This is a great fight, though, man. This could steal the show. But I definitely have Laura. I say round 7, round 8, TKO. Ref steps in, stops Garcia. He's just too small.
Yeah,
he's been too active. Laura is 41, but his last 4 to 5 fights, he's looked pretty good. So I feel he's not as quick as he used to be.
No,
but he's more offensive minded now because he doesn't have the reflexes, doesn't have the counter punching like he used to. Laura comes forward now. He's a little more offensively minded. So in saying that, I think round 7, round 8, TKO, Laura will stop Garcia and we'll never see Garcia fight again. And I don't blame Garcia. He's chasing his dream. He wants to be a 3-division champion.
For sure.
Good for him.
I tell you what, I think that Ring Rust will play a key in this. Laura's key here is to do as much as he possibly can in the first 3-4 rounds and, kind of coach from there. If that happens, then I can see the fight playing out the way you're saying. But if he can't get it done and he's taking too much time to figure this out, he's going to give him that time to recover and get that ring rust off of him. I think ring rust is going to play a big factor in this, right? I mean, normally I probably would go with Garcia as well, but I think Laura wins in decision only for the fact that Garcia's been out that long, and it hasn't been because of injuries, because he's waiting for this opportunity. So I think Laura by decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if Garcia can pick it up. And because of his youth, well, if you want to call that youth in this match, he could potentially win this in 10 rounds, in my opinion. But I'm gonna go Laura in 12 in a decision. I don't think it's going to be a knockout or anything like that. I think it's going to be a bit more of a technical battle and just kind of, get your opportunity and get in there when you can. That's the way I see it.
Well, we see it differently, but let's see what happens. Like I said, anything can happen in these fights, right? So that's why we watch them. But it's a pretty good card. Stephen Fulton's on the card. Romero's on the card.
Yeah.
So they loaded this card up pretty good. I think they realized going up against UFC at the Sphere. Let's stack the card. It's a pretty stacked card. It's one of the best cards in a while.
It's a fun card. I'm looking forward to it.
I like it.
I like that Fulton fight. It's a nice return for him after everything he's going through. Romero, I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of that kid anymore, to be fair, right? So I mean, if all the fights that are on that card, that would probably be the one that I'm not most interested in, to be honest. That's
fair enough.
Right. All right, brother man. Great card. Do we have anything happening in this world of boxing history and Canadian history?
In Canadian history, nothing of significance, but in American history, North American history, we got something here. Reason why I say that, fighter from Mexico. On this day in 1992, so 32 years ago, Julio Cesar Chavez defeated Hector Macho Camacho.
Yeah.
Unanimous decision. He closed his eye in Las Vegas. He beat the crap out of him. After the fight, Chavez said, that kid can take a punch. His eye was completely shut. It was a good war, but Chavez just beat him pillar to post. So good fight. I actually watched it a couple months ago, actually. And just so happened that it popped up this week.
No, it's awesome, man.
Those Chavez over Camacho in 1992 in Las Vegas, 32 years ago.
And it wasn't just 2 years ago they had a rematch in Mexico. They did.
Oh the exhibition stuff. Yeah,
that was hilarious. That was so funny. I mean, at the end there when they were trying to take off their headgear because they wanted to fight without headgear.
Yeah, no, it's a good fight. It's on YouTube. It's Chavez is an animal, right? It was a good fight. Heck, man, Camacho took a heck of a beating in that fight.
Awesome, brother man. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, brother man. Let's wrap this up. We got our predictions in. We know where we're going, what direction we're looking at. It's a packed Saturday. Thankfully, there's no wrestling. We can focus on the boxing, and you know what? I guess kind of slip back and forth to the UFC as well. I don't know about the UFC card. Like the card is pretty good. I don't know if I'm interested in the card more so the production that they keep talking about.
That's the
How
main
good,
thing. That's the main thing. I want to see the
right?
production.
So
I'll
my
be honest,
question,
yeah, looking at the UFC card, the boxing card, because I obviously like boxing a little bit more, but I think the boxing card is more stacked for what I want to see. Not
yeah.
to say the UFC fights could be better, the
No,
boxing fights could
look,
be
look,
better.
look. I mean, the UFC card is pretty good too. Like, I'm a pretty
Yeah,
good fan of the UFC. I mean, on there you got O'Malley against Dervish, and then you got what's his face on there as well. Brian Ortega is fighting that
yeah, no,
Lopez.
it's a good card.
So, and Shevchenko
And while
against.
we're at it, there's a few things that UFC does way better than boxing. Number one, the worst part about boxing is all the different national anthems we have to hear before the main event.
Yeah,
If you get a UFC, one national anthem, and that's it. We don't need to hear the Mexican national anthem, the American national anthem, the Canadian national anthem before a main event.
I
Start the
don't,
show off with that and cut all that crap out. It
I
takes
don't,
half an hour to start that main event.
yeah, I don't think that's more so in America, in North America. That's more of a European thing and a Saudi thing. I've noticed. I don't see them doing the what do you call it? National anthems for these cards here.
Yeah, before every main event, yeah. If you got Mexico versus Philippines, we have to have the Mexican national anthem, the Filipino national anthem,
I
and
know
the American national anthem.
I notice it in Europe all the time on the
No,
zone
every American card does that. You've been doing that for years. Oh yeah,
for that. I'm gonna look for that this weekend then. Because I haven't really paid attention to it. I've never noticed it.
yeah. When I watch the Pocket Yugos fight out of here, Yugos' national anthem out of here, the Filipino national anthem, and the American national anthem. It's too
Okay,
much.
okay. Fair
You
enough.
don't need that because you got all hyped up for the fight, and then in between the co-main event and the main event, we got to sit through 6-7 minutes of national anthem from 3 different countries. Start the show off with the national anthem of the country that you're in, and be done with it.
No, I agree with you completely. I
Don't
totally
like
agree
that.
with you. Yeah, no fair play. And the worst part is they have the fucking guys in the ring cooling down while these are all happening. If you're gonna do that shit, do it while they're still in the dressing
Yeah,
room, then bring them
that's
out.
one thing that boxing has to do is from the co-main event to the main event. We don't need 20 minutes, a half an hour
Yeah,
in between.
yeah.
5 to 10 minutes, get the guys out,
Agreed.
introduce them, and let's roll.
Agreed.
I hate how they do that in boxing. UFC goes no quicker.
The only thing I'd be interested in UFC this weekend, one thing that I am interested in for the UFC this weekend, not the only thing, how much will the fighters be affected by all the shit going on around them with the screens?
I don't think they'll tune it out and lock in.
But how can you though? Like, I mean, it's a different environment. I mean, the sphere is the sphere, right? Like they're
Yeah,
all saying the right things in their pressers and they're, everyone's asking them, but I'm just curious because the reality is some of the fighters have asked to actually go in there before just to get a feel for it, but I don't think they're allowing anyone in. So,
not sure. I'm not sure on that one.
right. So I'm curious to see how some of these guys are going to be affected by everything. The image.
Once the bell, maybe when they're walking, once the bell rings,
We'll
they
see.
don't want to get killed until they'll be on.
Look, reality is you're a trained athlete. All that stuff should be out of your head, but
At the highest level, yeah.
at the highest level, these guys are at the highest level, but
Yeah.
I don't think anyone at the highest level has ever seen what we're about to see.
That is true too. Not in the Sphere, no. First ever sporting event in the Sphere. This has had concerts so far.
Right? Like I'm sure in the very beginning when the first girl who showed her titties at a show, distracted some people. But now, it probably not a distraction, but this is different. So let's see what happens, man. Let's see how it all plays out.
Looking
All
forward
right,
to it.
man. Let's get this weekend started. Let's get going. Let's have a lot of fun. Let's be safe. My name is Bobby Sampson. He's Mr. Chance Michaels.
And in the words of the great ACDC, those that download, like, and subscribe to the podcast, we salute you.
We do salute you, and everybody remember this. Do the things that change your life. Don't do things to justify your life. And anyone who tells you you're wrong or you're wrong for dreaming and believing in what you want to be, tell them to fuck off. Straight up. I am tired of people pissing on people and wrecking their dreams and their ambitions just because those people are shitting on you. Just remember, they're shitting on you because they don't have the guts, the glory, the ambition, or the gusto to go after it like Samp&Chance do. And if you're going after it like we do, then you guys will be successful as well. Remember, it takes time. And if you believe in God, don't expect God to do everything for you. He's there to support you, but you still have to show him you're doing the work.
Well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. Well said.
Awesome, brother, man. Let's
Mhm.
take this off the air. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the wrestling, enjoy the boxing, enjoy the UFC if that's your thing. And come back to us next Tuesday and we'll tell you everything we got on our minds. Samp and Chance are out.